means one thing. Who's hot? Who's not this week in Rhode Island? Oh, it's Russ Moore. We'll never get it done.
What's going on?
I go for the bump, you go for the high five. I go for the handshake.
I like to keep you guessing.
Will we ever be on the same page?
One day.
One day on the same page.
I don't know when, but it will happen at some point in the future.
So it's not too hot right now. I think it's a nice day outside.
It's too hot.
It's too hot?
Yeah, 85's hot. You know, I like it a little bit cooler than that. So things are heating up around here. And I got the hot or not list.
You got that?
It's a controversial one. I've been getting in some trouble, as always.
You got some feedback today, huh?
I'm going to have to do some groveling.
And I've got a little bit of a tickle here. But let's start off with who is hot. Let's start off. Couldn't get much hotter than Nico Giannopoulos.
Oh my God, right? I mean, that photo of him next to President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump went viral. It didn't just go national, it went international. Media outlets were showing it, and we were all so proud of him for, you know, showing up at the White House and standing up for who he is and showing his students that you don't have to be ashamed for who you are ever, even if you're in front of the most powerful man in the world who has rolled back protections for transgender students. I mean, he's a gay teacher from Woonsocket. He's gay, but he really stood up, and he was flamboyant, and I give him all the credit in the world, and he showed his students that courage pays. It pays off.
That was. I mean, Rhode Island was really on the map this week with that picture. As you said, viral all around the world. Apparently replicated here in the governor's office as well.
Sure.
So, Teacher of the Year, give credit to all of our teachers
Love
out there.
That confidence.
You know, going into summer break, thank you to all of our teachers, and
especially
to
him.
Nico. Way
Thank
to
you,
go.
Nico.
Way to go for a great pick and a great opportunity.
Absolutely.
Who else is hot? Alan Fung.
Sure, I give the mayor of Cranston and likely Republican gubernatorial candidate credit for standing up and criticizing Governor Raimondo for her economic development plan. He said that it's basically, you know, who she knows and who her friends are and who her donors are with the Commerce Corporation. So I liked that, and I also, I know I put Speaker Mattiello on the not hot list, but I give the House of Representatives credit for scaling back some of the programs at the Commerce Corporation, because it seems like it's a lot of, you know, a lot of corporate welfare, and I don't like that.
Now,
I think a lot of Rhode Islanders like that.
And this wasn't just the corporate welfare. This was the story that Go Local did earlier this week, showing that contracts that Commerce has executed. Now, this was an APRA request that we had to get this information for. 2/3 of it went to out-of-state interests. So it was, you know, it's your taxpayer dollars, my
Sure.
taxpayer dollars. Just follow the money, see where it goes, and see if it's a good thing, if it's not a good thing. But the mayor had some interesting things to say about it when we put it out there.
He always does. And we have good people in Rhode Island, so there's no reason to be spending 2/3 of the budget on out-of-state contractors and companies.
So he landed on the hot list.
Sure, he spoke out.
And other Politico on the hot list, John Pacheco in Burrillville.
Sure, yeah, the town council president in Burrillville lands himself on the hot list this week, and the reason for that is because he's come up with a way to fight the Inva Energy power plant proposal in Burrillville with their own money, because he agreed to, the town council agreed to a tax treaty with the company, and it allowed the company to pay them money up front without strings attached. He's using that money to fight them. So I give him credit, because I don't think that the power plant is very good for the environment, and I wouldn't want it if I lived in Burrillville. So I give them credit for fighting this as vociferously as they have, and I give them credit for using the money of the company to fight the company.
So that's relatively interesting when folks saw that this happened, that they're using that money. Now, I'm assuming it went in good faith. Do you think, though, that they'll ever sit down at the same table after this again, though?
No. No, this is not going to end cordially. It's going to end up in court or something like that. Yeah.
Things are mired in the legal conflicts going on with Invenergy right now, because just this week as well, they had challenged what was a lawsuit put forth challenging Johnston being able to sell their water to Burrillville. Now, follow the bouncing ball. Invenergy had challenged that lawsuit. The court said Invenergy can't challenge that lawsuit. So that was a little ping against them as well. They were trying to sort of nip it in the bud, but citizens who were concerned saying Johnston Water can't go to Burrillville. We're going to follow this through the legal channels. Invenergy tried to stop it, and then the court said, no, you can't stop it.
And I'm hearing people from across the state kind of saying that, you know, Burrillville just has to take it. We need this power plant. This is jobs, and this is revenue, and this is more available energy. And I think it's easy to say if you live somewhere else, but if you lived in Burrillville, I don't think you'd be singing that same tune. So I give Burrillville a lot of credit. I give the town council president a lot of credit as well.
Well, I think we'll be following that. Frank Carini from EcoRI, just saw him walk around the corner. I'm sure we'll be talking about that.
He'll have a lot more to say.
He'll have a lot to say. But you know who wins in this? The lawyers.
Well, who always wins no matter what happens? The lawyers.
The lawyers win, so we're going to
We
continue
need more
to follow.
lawyers in Rhode Island, that's for sure.
Let's keep going down the hot list here. You put Amazon on the hot list.
Sure, they bought Whole Foods, and it's going to make the company a dominant force now in grocery. So not only in retail, and they're killing retail outlets across the country with their efficiencies, but they're going to take that same business model and apply it to grocery. So we're going to see Amazon stamp for decades going forward. They seem to be getting bigger, not smaller, and they're threatening even companies like Walmart and Target are feeling the pressure
Well,
from
they
Amazon.
took a huge hit in the market after this announcement was made. And it was interesting here in Go Local, CEO Josh Fenton said this is the biggest game changer in years in commerce. Then we had Bob Wick come in yesterday. He was like, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And now we're again here in June 2017. I think time will tell.
I tend to agree more with CEO Josh Fenton, but that's just my take.
Again, we'll see moving forward what happens with Amazon. Now, it's funny, when you had Amazon on the hot list, it could have landed on the not list. You know, this year, now that we've got the Amazon tax fully implemented in Rhode Island, you know, we had Mike Stenhouse with the Center for Freedom and Prosperity on yesterday, and he pointed out, okay, well, they said there's no broad-based tax increases in this budget, but yet this one came through. So, you know, if you're buying online, you're shelling out.
Good point by him, as usual.
FYI.
All right.
So, two sides to the Amazon story. Johnny Gates.
Yeah, I saw Johnny Gates in studio, and I listened to him sing, and he played some new music here with Molly, and I thought he was fantastic.
How good did it sound?
Awesome.
Oh.
It sounded awesome. It sounded tremendous. I watched it like 3 times. And I think it's kind of cool how he's going to go on an East Coast tour. And it was really cool how he talked about the fact that he's used to being like an opening act. And now he's seeing himself as the headliner, and that's like a big accomplishment.
He is
for him.
hot, and I have
And
it
he's
here.
like he seems like the nicest guy when you listen to him talk. It's like the coolest, most laid-back guy, so he's easy to root for.
So cool, so laid back. The first one he sang was about LA, and now we've
Yeah.
got Ava Gaudette here in Go Local, who's Providence native, lived out in LA for a while, and she was like, I was kind of tearing up, like she was, you know, missing her days out in LA. But just want to let folks know, Johnny Gates is going to be at the Met on June 24th, so if you want to see him in person, go check him out.
I'm going to check him out.
I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to go.
Oh, I'll see you there.
I'll see you there.
All right,
okay,
sounds
we'll
good.
talk about your hot analysis.
Yeah, we'll prepare.
Okay, Scott Pioli on the hot list.
Absolutely. It was a heartwarming story. It was out.com. They reported that former Patriots lineman Ryan O'Callahan, is gay, and he felt he felt weird, he felt uncomfortable about it, and it got it to the point where he felt suicidal about it, and he talked to Scott Pioli, who was a Patriots GM, and now he's the GM over in Kansas City, and he told him, and Pioli told him, he said, look, this is nothing to be ashamed about. He comforted him. Even for, macho man football players like yourself, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And I thought that, hearing that kind of figuratively talked him off the ledge was really a heartwarming story. And it made me gain even more respect for former Patriots general manager Scott Pioli. I always respected him as a GM because he brought us Super Bowls, but after seeing that, now I have a lot of respect for him as a kind-hearted person. So.
It was such a great story, and I just, I read it too, and I loved his recounting it. There's a Scott's recounting it, because he said when Ryan came to him, he told him, and he's like, well, what's the problem? Like, I just thought you came here to tell me about a problem.
He was nervous.
Well,
he said, what are we nervous about?
And so I guess he told him, and I guess he said, no, what did you come here to talk to me about?
Right, Scott was nervous that he did something actually
that was
bad.
Actually,
right.
Yeah, and so it was a good story, great story. I think, we keep hearing about athletes coming out, but I think we'll hear less and less because there won't have to be these huge stories.
That's right, and that's a good thing.
They keep breaking the glass ceiling, so to speak, of, getting this out there. So, again, Scott Pioli lands him on the hot list.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see who's on the not hot list as I'm scrolling through.
All
Do you know
right.
what's not hot? Kate having dropped her phone, having gone running this week. Not
a good look. Not a good
hot.
look.
Don't drop your phone without a screen
And I feel like
protector.
every time she touches that screen, she's going to cut her finger. It makes me nervous.
Death by 1,000 cuts. That's another story. On the not hot list, Stephen Archambault.
Oh my God, that was so easy. It was so easy to put Senator Archambault on the not hot list after his outburst. And, as I was watching it, it was cringeworthy to see him talk to a constituent that way. And it made me think of the great 21st century philosopher, Kendrick Lamar, who's been all over the airwaves with his new rap song, his new hit, sit down, be humble. That's my advice to Senator Ashenbalt in the future. Next time you feel like having an outburst and berating a constituent because you're so much better than them and you're a senator, you should just sit down and be humble. Take my word for it. You'll get a lot further.
Now, let's, the senator apologized after the fact.
Yes, groveled. He had to grovel.
We always talk about groveling.
Yes.
Go Local did write the story. We had written years ago that there was
right.
an incident, I believe back in 2008, that we had reported on.
Yep.
Look, he apologized, but it's ultimately up to the constituents and the voters in his district to say it's an issue or it's not an issue.
Sure, and
it's really up to them.
And you make a great point. The apology is definitely something that's more hot than not. But at the end of the day, it was not a good week in the news for the senator. Usually when you find yourself issuing public apologies, you're going to find yourself on the not hot list.
Issuing public apologies, I'm surprised you didn't have Frank Montanaro Jr. and or Bill Fisher on here for his statement put out.
There's so much not hotness going on around here. I only have room for so much. I can only do so much coldness.
Well, that was a recent development. That just
Sure.
was the other day. That again, he put a release out crafted by one of the state's top lobbyists.
Sure.
So
He hired him personally, apparently.
But we'll see moving forward. It was such a big issue, and again, not on the not hot list this week. But
But it's not hot.
But
It's
he's
my
going
point.
to pay. He's going to pay the money back. I think the question now is, does this have legs?
Yes, it does. And the reason for that is you just don't go around paying $50,000 back if you didn't do anything wrong. That's a sign of guilt. I'm not saying guilt in a legal sense. I'm saying it's you feel guilty. So,
Well,
yeah,
they're trying to make the issue go away. But as we said, you think it has legs? We'll see.
Legs, big legs. I think it's got big legs. We haven't heard the last of it.
We'll see moving forward. Here in Providence, you have the mayor on the not hot list.
Yeah, Mayor Elorza, I put you on the hot list last week because you did you proposed a good budget, but then you went and got arrogant. You went and you said that if Providence went to bankruptcy court, you'd get laughed out of court. Let me remind you that you have roughly $2 billion in liabilities that are going to eat into the city budget every single year moving forward. We already don't have the best paved roads in the world. We have schools that are crumbling. These liabilities are preventing you from rehabbing these buildings and paving these roads. So to say that, to act as if Providence is, everything is great and we're on great financial sound footing, no. And no, you would not get laughed out of bankruptcy court. It's actually not a bad idea. So it just really rubbed me the wrong way. It seemed a little snarky and arrogant. So he landed himself on the not hot list.
Okay, Mayor Laura's on the not hot list. Let's keep going down. AAA story that Go Local broke.
Yeah, Go Local broke that story about that young woman. She's legally blind and she had a service dog and she broke down and AAA said, nope, can't give you a ride with the dog. And I love dogs. Everyone should know that I love dogs. You must love dogs. So so that's bad company. AAA bad. Not being nice to dogs. Not being nice to this woman. Not hot. You're bad. I'm only kidding.
Well, if you've read the hot or not list this week, you do know that Russ Moore is groveling right now because he did put pit bulls on the not hot list following an incident that took place here in the city.
In the Civil War, yes. If looks could kill, I would not be alive right now after the look I got from Molly.
We just had a pit bull puppy.
And we just had a really vicious dog in here.
The least vicious dog of all time.
No, that dog was adorable, and I was actually petting that dog before I came on. But let me just make my argument about pit bulls. There was an incident in Warwick where two pit bulls went kind of insane or crazy, and they were attacking a guy, and they were attacking another dog. See, I love dogs. And unfortunately, listen, it's an awful incident, and the police officers had to open fire on the dogs, and it's very sad. But, so my argument was, I was thinking back about my home city of Pawtucket, and how we had a pit bull ban, and how the legislature, in its infinite wisdom, overturned the ban, said we can't have it, pit bulls can be anywhere. But I sometimes feel like pit bulls are such impressive, strong, physically strong dogs with unbelievable muscles that when they go bad, they give off immense danger, because when they attack, they've got the strength to do some serious danger and damage. So I feel like maybe they're more suitable for rural environments like Burrillville, maybe the residents of Harrisville and Mapleville, and maybe in Richmond, Rhode Island, Hopkinton, where there's big, huge farms and big, massive lots. I feel like maybe they're better suited for those areas than cities like Pawtucket, Providence, and Warwick.
I know you said that you took I'm not going to beat you up, because I know you said you took a lot of flack for it.
Sure.
Look, Rhode Island's not the first place. This incident's not the first place that has happened with pit bulls before. This discussion, this debate has gone on. Look, if you were to talk to anyone who's been the victim of an attack, a relative of a victim of an attack, they're going to have a completely different take on it. So I'm not maligning you but I don't know the breed per se. But,
right.
But, keep the discussions going. What's the best, way to address a situation? Because
sure.
Let's be honest, there have been situations where people have been harmed. So, okay. But as you said, ultimately, especially at the city levels, the voters speak. And if they want to ban, they'll get it. If they don't want to ban, they'll tell their elected officials they don't want one.
But people have been harmed by other breeds too. It's not just pit bulls.
That
So
is
it
true.
may not be fair just to pick on pit bulls. I mean, Doberman Pinschers are big, massive dogs, and there have been other dogs like Rottweilers that in the '90s that was like the dog that everyone criticized. So I could be wrong. I could be wrong on
look
this
for
one.
pit bulls on the hot list next week. Russ is going to have that picture.
Sometimes you got to make amends. Yeah.
Russ is going to have the picture of that beautiful pit bull puppy that we had in here before. So just
the dog was. Everyone saw it. The dog was adorable. I was petting it back here, just so you know.
Had to hash it out again. It was a gorgeous dog. We knew this was going to be the controversial segment.
How did you like my groveling?
As I said, it's something that people continually talk about.
That's right.
So, poof. 2 more items on the not hot list
All right.
here I want to chat about. The budget scoops in this year's budget that was just approved by the House last night.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's tough to write a budget. I get that. I know that the legislature has a tough job. I mean, they've got to placate all those powerful special interests, and they've got to take care of their friends. So sometimes the way they do it is they pull money out of the Narragansett Bay Commission to the tune of $5 million that was going to be used to protect our bay, and they use it to fund the general fund. And I think that's a short-sighted idea, because one of our biggest assets here in Rhode Island is our bay. And when we don't make investments in our bay, we hurt our tourist economy, or tourism economy. So I thought that was a wrong-headed move. So I'm calling out the legislature for doing that.
So lastly on the not hot list, East Greenwich and what's going on there.
Yeah, East Greenwich, it's a classic town versus school battle. School wants more money, town wants to cut them. Now, level fund them, and they want to cut taxes. So it's being hashed out. They just fired their town manager, and they hired a new one.
I don't believe it was not fired. I think there was just a separation. What's a separation? It's
fired.
We see in or out. Either you're in or you're out.
Right.
The old town manager is out.
And the new town manager's in, and the new town manager has close connections with former Supreme Court Justice Robert Flanders. Who's
acting town manager, and they are looking for one.
Okay.
Gail Corrigan, she does have a contract with the town council side to undertake some administrative functions for the school department.
That's right. And everyone knows Bob Flanders mostly for being the receiver in Central Falls and making some big cuts there to get their budget back into line.
Now, there's some people who like what's going on in East Greenwich.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Stenhouse on screen yesterday saying, you got to focus in what's going on in East Greenwich. It seems like there's clearly, because of just the language use, parallels with Central Falls, which it seems just sort of...
You wouldn't think East Greenwich, yeah. But listen, I put them on the not hot. I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying the school's all right, the town's right. What I'm saying is that they're fighting with each other, and that's not hot. It's better when everyone's on the same page working together. I think we can all agree.
Well, yeah, it's boiled up into a state issue when you see Bob Walsh tweeting angrily about the special interests, anti-public education interest and control.
Yes, right. He is the special interest. All right. Yes, okay.
So, well, I think that might be it for the hot
All right, the
list.
fist bump time. I'll give
Okay.
you the heads up there.
Yeah, you always mix it up. Keeping me on my toes.
All right, later,
Keeping me
Kate.
on my toes.
Thank
Russ
you.
Moore, go local columnist, rates hot or not every week. That is usually controversial. This week seemed to be a little more controversial than normal, but he gets to come in and defend his stance, so appreciate Russ. And then Mondays, writes his column. So